PA Media Group.
I think she's taking a nap, and we're all like eating wings and pizza, and all our wives are at home taking a nap. I'm like, it's so weird.
But it's Sunday, you know, and that's kind of like how it is.
Yeah, I could just watch football all day, and you don't like that.
No, you don't. You don't lift a finger. Hey guys, episode 89.
Wayne Corbett.
Y'all, this morning I was like, Lord help me. My kids were the crabbiest that they have ever been. I mean,
Ever?
you know, I feel like today was pretty bad.
This morning?
Yes. And they were, oh my gosh. I was like, okay, we need to hurry up and get to school. I need to drop you guys off. Y'all are driving me nuts.
Well, coming off the weekend is like coming off a vacation. You know, you don't want to go back to school. They had a big day yesterday. We stayed up late watching the Sunday night football game.
Yeah,
Me
you and
Lawson were really
Lawson.
into it.
Lawson gets really into it. Lawson cries if people lose.
Well, he picked the team. So you know, I'll put a couple bucks on a Sunday night game to make it more interesting. And usually Lawson picks the winner. So I put $10 on what he said was the winner, which the Cincinnati Bengals were playing the Los Angeles Chargers. And the chart. So I'm like, all right, Lawson, I'm going to put $10 on the Cincinnati Bengals. And so they started getting crushed. It was like, I don't even know the score, like 20-3 or 20-6, something like that. And Lawson got really sad. He goes, did you vote for the Bengals? Not bet. He's like, did you vote for the Bengals? I'm like, yeah, buddy, it was $10. And he like started crying. He goes, you lost $10 because of me? And then they made a comeback. So he was really sad. And then the Bengals came back and tied it up. They ended up losing in the last second. But the lesson was at halftime, I'm like, hey, just because they're down doesn't mean you're out. I'm like, they could always come back. You don't start crying about it and quit. They're going to come back and win the game. And they almost did. And he kind of learned a lesson from like, man, if they would have quit, they would have never tied the score up. I'm like, that's right, buddy. You know, so it was worth $10 for the lesson that came out of it.
That was, that reminded me in high school. My grandpa they do basketball tournaments where he lives and he loves going. And I was like, oh, Grandpa, they're losing by a lot. Let's just go. And he goes, no, the game's not over. I go, they're done. There's no way they're going to win. Sure enough, came back, tied, overtime, and they won. Man,
that happened a couple of years ago when we went to this high school football game, Valor over here, that Christian McCaffrey went to.
Yeah.
We went to go watch the game, remember? And it was like 26-0, and you made us leave. And a couple of our friends stayed for the second half. And I was like, man, I kind of wanted to stay for that game. It was 26-0, I believe the score was, if I remember right. And my buddy met us up later on that evening. And I'm like, how'd the game turn out? He goes, dude, you weren't there? I'm like, no, Jordan made us leave. He goes, they came back and won 27-26. I was like, I can't believe Jordan made me leave that game, even though it was a high school football game. But that's exciting when teams come back like that.
I love when they come back and it's like exciting like that. But in the moment, we just had to go. And I remember it was freezing. So I was ready to
It was not freezing.
Yes, it was.
We were getting Kona ice.
No, it was freezing.
Oh, it got below 60?
Yeah, freezing for me.
Anyways, but yeah, so that was the lesson so he stayed up a little late. That was probably it. We waited till the game was over, so they probably didn't get enough sleep and they were just a little tired. They wore themselves out.
They normally do, like Lawson today, he's like, I need help getting ready. I go, Lawson, I have all your clothes laid out. I need you to help me get on my socks because I can't do it. Like, it's just things like that, you know, when it's like, come on, we got to leave in 5 minutes. I don't like being late for school. And it's like, come on, out the door. And he's just taking his time. I need another bagel.
Yeah, it gets annoying, but they're gone. So here you go, love. Enjoy.
Yeah.
I took them out of the house yesterday all day.
You did. Jeff and we're a good team about that because sometimes I just need that mental break. And the night before, Jeff went out and with some of our old neighbors from when we lived down over by Cherry Creek and played in like a little poker tournament. And I took the kids. And then so you could go enjoy your night with those guys. And then yesterday, you helped me out. You're really good about that. If I've ever asked for any help, even if you don't want to, even if you were super hungover and you didn't want to, you never tell me no.
Yes.
You're always like, go do it. Even when the boys were babies, And I feel like most husbands with babies would be like, oh, go with your mom. But you always loved having them when they were babies.
Yeah.
Remember my mom called you like the baby whisperer? Because you were better than me. You were always good at like getting them situated. And
Lawson was always better because he was kind of, had more of a temper, and so did I. So I kind of knew, even though I couldn't communicate specifically through words with him, I knew the frustrations he was feeling, because that's how I was growing up. I always had like a quick temper and got so mad that I didn't really rationalize things. So I know where he's coming from, even though he doesn't know where he's coming from. Do you know what I mean?
And you would come home. We were in this apartment, and he would come home, and I would go down and just get on the treadmill, remember, for like an hour at the apartment, and you would take the kids and play with them, and just so I could just get just a mental break. Cause I am like that. Like sometimes I just need that break, because then I'm just very snappy, and there's no point in being that way.
Yeah.
It's better that they just are with their friends.
And so when I see that happening to you, because I know I'm going to face the wrath for no reason, I just try to get the kids out of the way and let you calm down, because then it's going to end up being my problem.
But it was fun for you. You went to retired neighbor's house. You
ate chicken wings and pizza.
Yeah, ate chicken wings and pizza. And
you had a
you
fat
guys
day.
had fun, and I folded laundry and got things done.
Yeah, it was, it was so funny. So we're over there. So both of our cul-de-sac boys, if you watch the video, we're all over at retired neighbor's house. And it was all of us with all of our kids. And I was like, hey, where's your wife? And they're like, she's taking a nap. And I was like, where's your wife? She's like, she's upstairs. I don't know. And then they're like, where's Jordan? I'm like, I think she's taking a nap. And we're all like eating wings and pizza, and all our wives are at home taking a nap. I'm like, that's so weird.
But it's Sunday, and that's kind of like how it is.
Yeah, I could just watch football all day, and you don't like that.
No, you don't. You don't lift a finger.
What are you talking about?
The only time you get up to leave the basement is to come up and eat something.
That's not true. I go in the basement because they're watching YouTube, and I can't stand the sound of that. I can't stand it. So I come in the basement to watch the game and get a little peace.
Yeah, you hide.
I don't hide. I'm not hiding. If they watch YouTube down here, I would watch it on the regular TV.
Yeah.
You're not buying it?
I am. I'm not arguing with you about the football and TV.
Jordan was, okay, we're going to take a break, but Jordan was laying on the couch the other day, again, taking a nap. When you had like your motivational book, and you were like sleeping with your hands crossed.
The kids were in school. I had been running errands all day. Like I dropped them off at school and was just running errands. And then I came home and I was like, okay, I got everything done. So I read this book, and I was like, I had my legs on the coffee table. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get cozy here. And I just read my book. And then I fell asleep.
I know, but what are you filming, a movie? Like, did you have a cup of hot tea next to you and the fire was going and you fell asleep with the book on your chest?
Nothing was recorded. Only you saw that.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, who really sleeps like that? You know what I mean? It's like going to bed with one of those nightcaps, like you're in a 40s movie or something.
It was very peaceful. It was very quiet in here. You were, I think, working out or something. And I got all my stuff done. And then I started reading my devotional book, and then I fell asleep.
Speaking of falling asleep, I went to bed the other night after a couple drinks.
Yeah.
And I just went down this rabbit hole on Instagram, and it was just one motivational quote after the other.
Oh, yeah.
And I actually wrote a couple down. So I want to share some with you.
Oh, sure.
All right. We'll wait. We'll take a quick break, and then we come back. I want to share some of these, and we'll do some Dear Krabbies.
Okay. If you're trying to look for the perfect holiday gift, because you all know after the holidays in January, everybody's going to be dieting. Everybody's going to be on their health kick like they are. And okay, I just have to say, I stuck to my health kick since January, AG1, and 11 months now, almost 12 with AG1.
Yeah. And I've been on it for over a year now. And I've never thought about that till now, because so many people write us in and they say, not only just fans, but friends. And I hate saying fans, but you're our friends as well. Everyone wants to get on the AG1 train.
Yes. Or I get the side text, do you really like it? And I'm like, I promise you, you will love it. stay consistent with it. You will see results. Just like I always say, like right now, I think the reason why I'm not sick, our weather keeps changing. It's like cold, hot, cold, hot. And I always around this time get sick. And I feel like I'm trying to get sick, but because I'm drinking my AG1, it helps support your immune system. And I always say this, zinc makes me feel sick. And the AG1, I drink it every single morning before I drop my kids off at school on an empty stomach, and I'm never sick. And it helps you have a good bowel movement.
Yeah. And I think gut health has a lot to do with your immune system.
Yes.
And AG1's the perfect drink for that. I drink it first thing in the morning. How I take mine, I've said it all the time, just a couple ounces of water, put my AG1 in there, pound that, cut my supplements into a quarter. I maybe take a handful as opposed to dozens now. So AG1 has helped me out this whole year with that.
I sometimes like to have my AG1 as like a tall drink. I used to do 8 ounces. I've kind of bumped down and I do 4 ounces, a little bit of water. And then I started kind of copying what Jeff was doing. And I think I like it a little bit better because I was getting super full and then I would go on a walk. And so now I just do 4 ounces. And if you're a beginner of AG1, I recommend starting at 4 ounces.
Absolutely. And there's no reason to start your health journey in the new year. Right now, AG1 is running a special Black Friday offer for all of November. AG1 is a daily health drink, in case you didn't know, packed with nutrition to help alleviate bloating, support sustained energy, and whole body health, which is why we love it.
So this holiday season, try AG1 for yourself or even gift it to someone special. It's the perfect time to focus on supporting your body with an easy and surprisingly delicious daily health drink. And that's why I have been drinking my AG1 for 11 months now.
And me over a year.
Every week of November, AG1 will be running a special Black Friday offer for a free gift with your first subscription, in addition to the welcome kit with vitamin D3+K2. So make sure to check out drinkag1.com/togetherness to see what gift you can get this week.
That's drinkag1.com/togetherness to start your holiday season off on a healthier note while supplies last.
Welcome back.
All right. So like I said, the other night I went out for a couple drinks, and sometimes when I have a couple drinks, I get deep into my feelings, but in a good way. Like, so I'll either go back and watch some old Big Brother stuff that that we've done, or people make these videos and I go back, and I don't do that all the time. Sometimes I like to reflect and just appreciate what Jordan and I have been through and all the cool things we've done. And I don't know why it takes me to like have a couple drinks to do that. But usually when everyone goes to bed, every couple months, I'll pop it on. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about that. Or I saw this. So I do that once in a while. But this time I ended up going on Instagram, which I don't do a lot. But you can, it does like,
it's the algorithm.
The algorithm, right? Mm-hmm. So it was one after another of these motivational videos and sayings, and I was getting really inspired. And sometimes I need that. Like if I don't have a chance to talk to my good friends or my family or Jordan, I need inspiration from somewhere else. And there's always inspiration around you. You just have to have your head up to see it. You know, if you're walking around with your head down, woe is me, I'm the victim of everything, you're never going to find that inspiration, even if it's right in front of you. So sometimes I need that kick in the ass just to get me going. And it kind of did, because I woke up and I was like, today's going to be a good day. I'm really starting to feel good about things. And we got some good news. So things are going pretty good. You know, still didn't have a job yet, but I just need that inspiration.
Other positive, it's instead of steps back, it's positive things, but it's not an official like job where he's like what you had, but there's other possible.
Right. There's other possible things, but I think you have to get your mind right. Your mind is the biggest thing. I always say, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And that's like my number one go-to quote, because it's true. No matter what you think you can or can't do, you're right. If you don't think you could do it, you're not going to do it. If you think you can and it sounds impossible, you have a chance. But that kind of goes to my first quote that I was looking at. And I don't know why I'm sharing these. I just got inspired by it, and I thought maybe other people would too.
Sometimes those pop up when it's like I need it, or like if I feel drained, or like you're saying, everybody needs it. Everybody needs a little inspiration or something to read or something to look at when you start your morning to be like, all right, this is going to be a good day.
Yeah.
I'm getting this done. And then you end up by the end of the day, if you start your morning like that, by the end of the day, you're like, wow, I did accomplish all of this.
Yeah.
Instead of holding things off. You're like, no, I'm going to conquer the day. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be, a good mom. I'm going to be a good wife. I'm going to tackle this project that I haven't wanted to do and I keep pushing it off. You're going to work on it.
Yeah. You got to get your mind right. Cause even I deal with motivational problems sometimes. Sometimes I get down on myself or stuck in my head and then I have a hard
natural.
time. I know, but I'm just trying to tell people that it is natural, but you could break out of that cycle or break out of even that thought process for the day. Right. And it kind of brings me, cause I struggle with procrastination too. Sometimes I put so many things on my plate that I don't know where to start. So I don't even start taking a bite out of it. But then you just got to dive in. And once you do one task, like I say, always start your day with making your bed because that's a W, so you got something out of the way, even though it's small, it sounds silly, but just a small little thing like that. But anyways, let me dive into some of these because I have a bunch of them and I just wrote these down and I don't really remember doing all of them, but I remember some of them. So we'll start with Marcus Aurelius' quote, which is a character in The Gladiator.
I was about to say, I know that name. Where do I know that from?
Well, he was actually a real guy from back then, but he just happened to be around that time. So all those guys in The Gladiator are real people that existed. I don't know if their stories are exactly
talk about that guy, his book.
Yeah. Oh, he's got I listened to his book. So I downloaded it. I forgot Marcus Aurelius. I forgot what it is. I just downloaded it and it's great. It's just all thought process from almost 2,000 years ago. And it's stuff that applies today if you're thinking about it correctly. Obviously, not all of it's accurate and there's different times and social things going on, but you could relate to a lot of what he said. So the first one, he has so many, but this one just popped out. It said, your happiness depends on the quality of your thoughts. And that's exactly what we're talking about right now. If your thoughts are everyone's out to get me or this person's screwing me up and every excuse in the book, it's always another one I have is when you're pointing at somebody, you have three fingers pointing back at you. That's another one that I use all the time, even my own life. But your thoughts truly determine how you feel throughout that day or your life or whatever. And you're starting to buy into some of this stuff because some people think it's gimmicky and the secret and they don't want to hear it. But
no, I think you need to because life is so ups and downs and you think that your path, I saw this thing before. It said my path. And it just shows a straight line because that's what you think. And then it shows like God's plan or life's plan, if you're not religious. And it's a bunch up, down, stairs, sideways, like everything going down. And that's so true. And as I've gotten older, things will stress me out and I need something to look at, something like that.
Yeah.
A motivational speaker, a devotional, something to help me because I get in my head and I get in my thoughts and kind of like what you were saying, I was trying to kind of relate to something you said, like you have gotten a lot of no's or dragging you along.
Especially in this business.
In your business. And you have to have something because it's just a pool of negativity.
Yeah. And you have to get over that.
And you got to get out of that swirl.
Yeah. You kind of just got to do it and put it behind you.
Yeah.
Right.
And not dwell on it. And I think good things are coming for you. I say this on the podcast every time. If you're honest, you're loyal, you're a hard worker, you do good, you don't lie. I feel like if people lie and dishonest, even if you're successful, it'll crumble, and you work hard and you want it.
Yeah.
You really want it and you're talented enough. It's just, these things just don't keep happening for you because it's something else, whether it be in television or whether it be your jardiniere business or whether it be something, it's God, universe, whatever
Has a
you
plan,
believe has a plan.
Yeah, and it's hard for me to see that sometimes too. By the way, I just pulled this up on my Audibles, and it's Marcus Aurelius Meditations, if you want to check it out. It's really cool to listen to in the car, or maybe something that motivates you. And again, I get that a lot of people think this is gimmicky and that they don't believe in things like that, but getting your mind right, and when it does happen to you, because it did happen to me in my past, I talked about my old boss, Dave Deeney, who kind of set my mind straight on all this, so I don't want to bore everybody with that same story, but I didn't believe it either. And I was like, I'm not reading these books. I'm not listening to this. This is all stupid. And he got my mind right. And it took some time, and it took, months of me listening to that stuff and then truly believing it. And then once I did, once it was in my heart and in my head, he's like, something big is going to happen for you right now. I feel it. And he's not Nostradamus. He didn't predict. He knew, though, if he got that in me, right, I would start to believe. And I mean, within a month of him saying that, I got Big Brother, and it changed my life. So if you don't believe it out there, that's fine. But I'm just saying, if you are struggling with something, there are ways to help yourself, to make yourself feel better and not so much the victim of every circumstance. Here, let me run through a couple more of these. You want to take a break, or are we too early?
Read a couple more, and then we'll take a break and do Dear Crowd.
Again, there's so many. These are some that just popped out of my head. And I've never heard this one before, but I really liked it. It said, I'd rather eat crumbs with bums than steaks with snakes.
I love that one.
That's a good one,
That's a really good one.
It's hard to say, but you got with snakes, not steaks. But that's really good, because you got to surround yourself with good people. And it's not worth going out with some big shot for the night because they want to get bottle service or whatever's going on. And they're not really your friend. If your true friend does that and he wants to take you out, that's a different story. But not just to be in that scene. I'm not that guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'd rather sit around and eat hamburgers and drink beers in my buddy's garage and watch football because I trust them and I love them. Right. You know what I mean? And
it doesn't have to be a show off thing.
Yeah, that's where I'm most happy, is around people that I trust. So I'm lucky enough to have friends even throughout my life, going back to Chicago, to Los Angeles, and now here in Denver. So I've been blessed my whole life in college to find those group of people in each setting that are my true friends for life.
It's really hard to find that as you get older.
Yeah.
And yeah, you've definitely mastered that.
All right. Well, let's take a quick break, and then I kind of want to do a couple more of these. Okay. And then maybe we'll squeeze in something else. All right.
Last week, Jeff and I went to the grocery store. We bought 5 things. And when we walked out, I told Jeff, I was like, you know how much that was? That was $75. And we bought nothing. And you were like, no, that wasn't. And I was like, yes, it was. I showed you the receipt.
Well, I have a routine when I go to the grocery store because I do the cooking in this house. No shame, no shade, but I love to cook. And when Jordan goes shopping, she gets a couple extra things that kind of sit in the fridge for a while and she never uses. And that's why I love it when Jordan uses EveryPlate, because there is no waste, just the ingredients that come in the kit.
It's delivered fresh to your door, which I love. And you get depending on what you pick. So you can do meats, you can do vegetables. I always do like the meats. And I like that it's like it comes in a bag, like a grocery store, and you lay everything out. All the ingredients are there. And then you have this card with a picture of the food that you're making, the meal, and all the ingredients on there. As you gear up for the busy holidays with all the expensive groceries and everything else life is, it's even more important to find ways to save time and money. With everyday low prices you can count on, go with the most affordable of any meal kit, EveryPlate. EveryPlate's fresh, pre-portioned ingredients. They're cheaper than any groceries, so you have more money for the holiday shopping.
That's right. Get ready for Thanksgiving with easy sides that even Jordan can make, like apple pie crescent rolls. How good does that sound? And sweet potato casserole.
Sold. Explore crowd-pleasing variety with EveryPlate's rotating menu of more than 25 weekly recipes, including 30 minutes or less. I do like that. Family faves, calorie smart. I always choose calorie smart, and veggie dishes.
So simplify your weeks with hassle-free meals, especially around the holidays with EveryPlate. You get pre-planned, easy to make recipes delivered right to your door. Like I said, so easy, even Jordan could make them.
And that's easy if I can do it. With affordable dinners for just $5.99 per serving plus 50% off your first box, EveryPlate helps you save money for a stress-free holiday.
Get this amazing deal by going to everyplate.com/togetherness. That's MESS and entering the code togetherness $5.99. That's code togetherness $5.99 at everyplate.com/togetherness. All right. So you want to just keep hammering these out? Do you like these? Mm-hmm. You weren't expecting this today?
No, I wasn't.
All right. So here's another one. I'll just jump right in. It's not what you are capable of. It's what you're willing to do. And I thought that one was just, again, going back to the procrastination thing that I struggle with, and in my head, I always have positive thoughts and I have all these ideas of what I could do and maybe start filming my own stuff. I have a million ideas and I'm always talking about those. But unless you're willing to put that into action and take the first step, even though it seems like there is a lot on your plate, you're never going to get it done. Mm-hmm. So this is more for me. I'm kind of speaking to myself.
That was us with merchandise. When you were working at Daily Blast Live, you had a job, like Daily Blast Live was your first priority. And we had all these ideas about the merchandise and we're like, oh, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. But then we never did because it was, you go back to work at Daily Blast Live and it wasn't a priority. And then then you lose your job and things get shaken up a little bit. And then you're like, okay, now I got time to focus on this and this can be my priority.
But you just got to do it. I come up with excuse after an excuse of my head of why I don't want to get it started.
Because you don't know how to do the website. So then you procrastinate on that. Wait, I don't know how to do the website. Well, I'm going to fail. I'm going to fail at this because I don't know what I'm doing. Well, you're going to fail by not doing it. So, you're not going to do it.
Yeah, no, exactly. You think of every reason why, and then think at the end of the day, you don't want to lose your money and fail at it and be known as a failure. But I was lucky enough to be able to interview a lot of sharks on Shark Tank. And the one thing they all had in common when I pitched the Jardinier thing to Mark Cuban, and he was nice enough to listen to that, and Lori and Barbara, and they all said the same thing. You just got to do it. Right. You just got to do it. You got to start. Nobody knows what they're doing in the beginning. You got to jump in.
That always made me feel more comforted. That sounds weird. Comforted. Am I saying that right? Because I always, starting merchandise or whatever ideas you have, I remember being like, oh, but we don't know what we're doing. We don't have business degrees. You don't have this or that. And then I listen to these podcasts and people who have successful businesses and they're like, you know how many mistakes I made in the beginning? And the reason I am successful now is because I learned from those mistakes and I learned what not to do. And then it makes you like, oh, okay. It's just anybody that's more relatable, like real life, even if they're millionaires and super successful, if they're just how they deliver their motivational speech or their whatever they're trying to come across, as long as it's like genuine and seems, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. But
does that make sense? Or
it does make sense because they're all people. I think we look at celebrities or Elon Musk's or Mark Zuckerberg's of the world. And you're like, well, yeah, they just were born with money, and I'm not saying that's the case. But they had a dream at one point and they put that dream into action somehow. And then they became who they are. So it's like, I don't think people look at it that those people struggled with that at one point too. But if you really do now, because of the internet, everyone has a story of how they got where they got. And it's how far are you willing to push? How many times are you willing to hear no? How many times are you going to fail? That's what separates people. Right. And then all of a sudden those people become celebrities in our social crazy world. But those are the people that never stop, that never gave up. Right. They just keep moving forward.
Yeah. I just need somebody that's like relatable. And then I'm like, yeah, I can do that. And it motivates me more.
Yeah.
Kardashians are not relatable to me.
Yeah. I don't think they know that life. That's a different thing. They were born into that. I don't know if I'm sure Kim Kardashian does hard work or whatever, but they were born into that. I'm more attracted to people that kind of have like a street story. Yeah. Same. And built their way up from there and then moved at one point and more relatable
like
to my life.
Their parents are middle class or lower class. Yeah. And then they're like, no, I grew up like this. And they just have like a normal childhood like how you did, and you're like, you just relate to them and then you root for them.
Yeah. So here, this kind of goes to the what we're just talking about, and also to you, because you struggle with this and so do I. You will never in life encounter a hater that is doing better than you?
Yeah.
Never.
Nope.
So you got to remember that. I got to remember
Because
that.
people are hating
when you get those negative comments. And if you know, it's not that you want to look down on anybody, but that person's lashing out at you because they feel threatened or cornered in some way. And they're lashing out because a lot of people, not the people I hang around with, want to knock you down when you're on your way up. Or when you do take a step up, you know, quote unquote, a step up in life, they want to knock that ladder down from under you. And I learned that like in Los Angeles, and I never understood that. And that's just how people are. And you'll never find a hater that's doing better than you.
One thing I learned.
The Rock is not going to comment on your social media page and call you out.
Right. And I've learned that the people who are the most successful and content and happy with their lives are the ones that are not going to tear you down. The ones who are not doing anything or not successful or don't like themselves are the ones that are hating on you.
Absolutely. And it goes to this one too. So again, I wrote these down just for me. You're suffering from self-doubt while others are intimidated by your full potential. Does that make sense to you? Because I suffer with like imposter syndrome and self-doubt.
I don't understand why you do that.
It's just, I don't know, it's just something in my head. But then I think other people are threatened of maybe the body of work I've done or what I, do for a living. And not saying the people on the outside, I'm saying people in the industry. You know what I mean? When I'm applying a job against them, I go in and I do struggle with self-doubt. And I'm like, I'm not as good as I think I am. I don't know why I'm even here. What am I doing on TV? I shouldn't be talking to this person. But then I have to snap myself out of it and say, man, live up to your full potential. You've done a lot. And that's why I go back and reflect on not only Big Brother, but I was watching Jeff and Jordan Do America. And when I did Around the World for Free and how terrible I was.
See the growth.
Right.
You're like, wow, it was terrible. But you never done it before. You just said you wanted to do it and you put it in action.
Yeah, but I got to really.
And then you learned.
I'm not trying to be more of a cocky person. I'm trying to give myself confidence that I do belong here and I do belong in the mix of getting a job. And it's not that I'm not getting it right now. It's just that I'm not finding the right job for me right now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. I got one more for you. Okay. And again, this is more for me than you. If you've forgotten the language of gratitude, you'll never be on speaking terms with happiness.
Yeah. If you're not thankful for everything that you have, if you don't sit and and you're selfish and it's all me, I want more. If you're not like, listen, I got a roof over my head. I can feed my family. I don't have a job right now, but I'm thankful that I had this past job where I could provide for my family and pay my mortgage and stuff. And you will be a much happier person.
Yeah.
That's with the gratitude. But in this world in social media, what you see is me. Look at my new fancy handbag. Look at the new, I don't know. Look at my new custom house. I don't know. I'm just making up stuff. I'm trying to think like Kardashian. Look at my private jet. I'm flying with my family. It's like that stuff is it. You know how they say there's an ick?
Yeah.
That's an ick.
I mean, that was something,
back in 2000, like Paris Hilton,
right.
Like cheesy. Now it's like, there's Americans out there losing their jobs. Someone else I know just told me their loved one lost a job. And I'm like, there's so many people losing their jobs. There's so many people that can't afford groceries, can't afford things. And then it's like, well, look at this. That's tacky to me. That's just so tacky.
You know what? Maybe too, like where we're at. Too,
and hang on. And I'm not trying to pretend I buy myself nice things. I'm not trying to act like be two-sided, Yeah. And like, we don't like nice things. Yes, we do nice things, but I don't like post it.
No, I think what you're trying to say is a lot of Americans right now, middle class, lower, whatever it is, they're struggling. Things are a little bit high. There's a lot going on with, the election and politics and prices and all that. So everyone's kind of on edge a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily know if now is the time to be posting that stuff when people are struggling. Like, I don't have a job. I'm struggling with my self-doubt and things like that. Just thinking for me, I don't need to see your new car. I'm happy for you that you got a new car, but I don't know if that's what people need to be seeing right now.
Yeah.
You know, and I think people are a little
just for comments
turned off by that.
Well, just the other day, this is somebody, I have no idea who this person is. It was just scrolling your algorithm, you know, on Instagram, and all the content was getting my daughter here, Lululemon, Starbucks, and Sephora, and something else. And then her daughter the content was so just, what's the word I'm looking for? It just did not relatable to just everyday American. They were like they live in Dubai or something, and then have a place here. And then just how she was showing her family, I was just like, that's gross. And then showing like her credit card, like her husband's credit card, and swiping it. That's just cheesy to me.
Yeah. But I think maybe that's inspiration for some people out there.
But I know super successful people that are like probably more successful than these people that don't show it. Because like some people, if you have it, you don't have to show off. You know?
I do know.
Some of these influencers, I'm like, oh my God, go away. Okay.
Yeah, but
on that note, let's leave on a good note.
Yeah, no,
Sorry.
the whole thing was gratitude, not jamming it down anybody's throat. And if that does inspire you, hey, lean into that. Maybe that's something like putting a goals or a poster on your wall. Like, one day I'm going to have all this stuff. You could spin that into a positive. For me personally, where I'm at, I don't really like the showing off stuff. I'm more of a believer in like, the guy at the end of the bar that's quiet, that's the guy you got to watch out for. The big mouth that's stirring up all the trouble, that guy's a one punch. I'm not worried about him.
Right.
You know what I mean? And kind of take it into that world. Watch out for the quiet people.
Right.
Because the people who have it and don't say anything are the people that I respect. Right. Rather than the ones who maybe don't have it all and they have credit card debt, but they're balling on social media. Yeah, I don't respect people like that. But do your thing. I'm not here to hate on people. I am here to talk about the gratitude for the last thing. And I think it's very important to have gratitude in where you're at in life, no matter what's going on, no matter how small, you think like your life is. Like, I go back to that story of Around the World for Free when I traveled around the world and I went to this jungle in Laos. Long story of how I got there. And this guy had 2 chickens and I got there and I was his guest and I couldn't even speak the language. We had a translator and he killed one of those chickens because he had a guest staying in his jungle hammock. You know what I mean? That's a person. That's like, he gave away half of his food for his whole family just because he had people staying with him. And it just, that type of gratitude and happiness is something I aspire to. I told that story before. I could tell it again, but I try to do that even in my own life. I try to pray in the morning or at night and give gratitude and thanks of where I'm at and excited for the future and that I'm handling this now with my health, with, my family's health, with everything, just all the good things. And sometimes you have to shake off the internet and the bad things going on in life and just, even if it's a couple things in your life, just be grateful for what you have. I don't mean to sound like Tony Robbins wannabe here, but it's just something that I'm going through right now. And I thought we'd share.
I love that. And too, it's your team. If I was negative and like, God, I cannot believe you don't have a job. This looks so bad, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It could cause more stress on you.
Yes, absolutely.
You just got to have somebody that's supportive and you get through it.
Absolutely.
All
absolutely.
Right.
But speaking of happier notes and things like that, we got a big live podcast coming out later today. So if you're still with us after all those boring motivational stories, later on today at 5:00 Mountain Time, we are doing a live YouTube. You have to go to Jeff and Jordan YouTube. We're going to be doing a live podcast. We have tons of giveaways. We're going to be taking your questions. Again, we're having our whole crew here later tonight. They already worked out some technical stuff. So hopefully there won't be any of those problems like the Mike Tyson fight. Having any of those skips going on in there. But yeah, tune in later today, 5 p.m. Mountain Time on Jeff and Jordan TV on YouTube. We're going to be live taking your questions. So get your questions in. And again, stick around for all the cool giveaways we have.
Bye.
Yay Media Group.